And we're live. Hello, Facebook. Yeah.
He's still looking for him, I think.
Are they what?
He's still looking for him out there.
They were right. Like I saw them
I saw
at
them
the end.
pulled in. Yeah,
like we kind of do baggage
he has the
checking.
camera thing out, so maybe he was shooting some other store. Maybe they're shooting the Superfund set store.
Well, Dean,
That's
you're our property now, so
Yeah,
you all can wait.
exactly.
30
That's what they're
seconds.
doing.
That's right.
That's what they're doing.
No, that's what I thought.
And then they'll come on.
But they go, okay.
That's why he's so excited about it.
Yeah, I read that today, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
I thought it was a joke.
So
Al
I
Graf
thought it was
sent
something
to
good.
me.
I'm like, oh, we're like, it's good. No, it wasn't a good thing.
Al Graf sent
Yeah.
it, so it's he usually sends jokes. So I thought it was a joke.
We're going down in a flame. Let's just be honest. Oh my God, sorry. We've got this. Let's make New York great again.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take some work.
We need a lot of work, right? But here we go.
Denise Nostrom, CEO and founder of Diversified Financial Solutions. Now more than ever, investment advice is needed. Not just where best to invest your money, but why. Are you investing for your future retirement? Are you retired and looking to maximize your income? Are you maximizing your income and concerned with leaving money for your loved ones? Are you investing for your retirement and at the same time saving for your children's education and at the same time saving to buy another home? Are the markets in line with your goals? Are your goals ever changing? Please contact me at 631-758-8691. That's 631-758-8691. Or visit us at diversifiedfinancial.biz. For over 25 years, I've been helping individuals, families, and business owners navigate through all market conditions with only one goal in mind, my clients. Visit me at diversifiedfinancial.biz or call Denise Nostrom, founder of Diversified Financial Solutions at 631-758-8691. That's 631-758-8691 for a conversation about my most important client, you.
Hello and TGIF. Welcome to Friday. We made it, and on this rainy day. But I was talking to a client earlier this week, and he was concerned that we didn't get a lot of snow and we might have a drought. But I think we're good. I think we're gonna roll through this. But you were listening to the Financial Chick Show, and I'm the Financial Chick, Denise Nostrom, and I'm excited today to have with me a repeat guest.
Right?
You've been here before.
Yes.
Not only my friend, but also my New York State Senator, Dean Murray.
Well, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
I am so glad you're back, and I am so glad. I don't know if we've seen each other since the election. I don't think we physically have.
I don't think so.
All right, so I'm going to personally say congratulations.
Well, there you go.
And
Well, thank you.
well deserved. And let me tell you, one of the hardest. I don't want to call you a politician. Hardest workers out there that has now become a politician.
There you go. We'll
How's
take
that?
it.
Does that work?
That works.
All right, winning. So I mean, I'm sure. Well, if you want to introduce yourself, I think most people know who you are. But for my guests or my listeners, why don't you give them a little?
Sure. And originally we met when I was back in the New York State Assembly and running for the State Assembly. So I served 7 years there, and then was back in the private sector for 4 years, and back now up in Albany, but on the other end of the hallway in the different chamber, in the upper house, as they say, in the Senate. So, but what people may not know is for a little over 25 years, and still am, a small business owner myself with a small advertising agency that focused on specialized publications and websites. We've had, and we've since COVID did us no favors. We ended up, yeah, I know. We ended up getting rid of the print versions, but we still have the websites. We still have the Long Island Job Finder, which is an employment website, and also the Long Island Fugitive Finder, which is a crime-fighting website. It's like America's Most Wanted, but it's local. We work with Suffolk and Nassau Police every once in a while with the U.S. Marshals or the Feds, and it's like I said, like America's Most Wanted, but local. We have local Most Wanteds, and every month it's updated with different people that they're looking for, and we go through Crime Stoppers, so people can get rewards if they have tips that lead to arrests. So yeah,
well needed at this
oh,
point.
it certainly is. No shortage of fugitives now.
Yes, for sure.
Exactly.
Well, that's another story for another day.
Right.
So yeah, all right. Well, welcome. And so basically today we wanted to just kind of get an update for many people, I mean, you hear on the news and everything, but it's nothing like getting it right from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Right.
What's going on in Albany? What's going on in New York State? And what are some, I guess, the good, the bad, and the ugly? I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have good, but I mean, no, really kidding. I'm sorry. We'd be trying to.
We have some good. We have some good.
Okay, there we go.
A lot of ugly, but I'm gonna. The news was dominated this week, obviously, by the surprise vote in the Senate of Hector LaSalle, the judge that was nominated by Governor Hochul to be the top Court of Appeals judge, the chief judge. Nominated by Governor Hochul, and unfortunately was shot down by members of her own party. And there was a whole legal battle going on because, according to the state constitution, when the governor makes this nomination, it must be voted on by the full Senate.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, the Democrat leadership, they were in a bit of a power struggle battle with the governor, and they decided we're not going to send it there. We're going to first send it to the Judicial Committee, which is standard. Mm-hmm. But normally it goes out of committee, goes to the full floor for the full Senate to vote. This time they didn't do it. They changed the makeup of the Judicial Committee to get the number of no votes they wanted. It ended up a 10-9 no vote to move it to the floor, so they never moved the vote to the floor. Okay. So a lawsuit was filed by Senator Palumbo, who was here in Suffolk County. Yeah. Lawsuit was filed. It was supposed to be heard today. In fact, the decision may have been announced. I haven't seen the news today, but it may have been announced. But the Democrat leadership said, oh, shucks, I think we might just lose this battle because it was obviously unconstitutional. So they did a little surprise move, sent it back to the committee, voted to move his vote to the floor, and then shot him down on the floor. So it was unfortunate, but that dominated most of the news. What really has been going on is we've been in the middle of budget hearings, which are very, very important.
And that's where most people, that's their pockets,
absolutely, right? Absolutely. The governor, how the process works, and I'll give you the Reader's Digest version, the governor will give her budget proposal. We then hold the hearings, get all the information, question everyone on it, and then each house puts together their proposed budget. So the Senate will be getting our one house when we get back in about a week and a half. The Assembly will put their one house. That's when we vote on those, and then the three leaders sit in the room and hash it out and haggle, looking over each of their proposed budgets and come up with a final version, which we will then vote on, and it must be passed by April 1st. April Fool's Day, ironically.
Interesting.
Yes, funny how that works. And right now the governor's proposed a $227 billion budget, which is, again, a rather large increase over last year, about $6.5 billion more than last year. If we were a nation, there would only be, I believe they said, 12 or 13 nations with a higher budget than our operating budget.
It's pretty scary stuff.
We are the fourth most populous state in the country. Florida is number 3, Texas number 2, California is number 1. If you add the budgets, the state operating budgets of number 2 Texas and number 3 Florida, add them together, they do not equal what we spend in New York.
Really?
It is shameful.
That is very shameful.
It is. And you wonder why we're chasing people away in record numbers, including businesses that with them take their jobs.
Absolutely.
So it is a downward spiral that must be reversed very quickly, and we can only do that by getting our spending under control. The only way we can spend is if we take. That's how government works.
Exactly.
And where do we take it from? The taxpayers.
And the thing is, again, you as a business owner, myself as a business owner, we are just counterintuitive. We do it totally the opposite way. You know, like, oh my God, I got to pay that much for the paper. Like, I'm going to try to save money.
Right.
The government does it so differently. When will anybody get a clue?
That's what we've said.
It's so illogical.
It's exactly. You hit it exactly right. They do it in reverse. They basically say, how much do we want to spend? Now let's figure out how we're going to get that money. Mm-hmm. Well, a logical business owner says, okay, this is what I have to spend. How am I going to spend it to make it work? Now, there are some things where we need to spend more. I'll say it up front. Childcare. Mm-hmm. Why? Because that's not spending, that's investing. If we invest in childcare, it's going to get more people into the workforce.
Amen. Exactly.
As we do this, it eases the burden on businesses, increases production, also puts people that were getting unemployment onto the tax rolls. So we're collecting income tax, payroll tax, all of these things.
And they add going
And we
into
generate
Social
money.
Security and going
There you
into
go.
Medicare.
Exactly.
Two, entitlements. I don't
Right.
like to use that word, but that are really kind of bleeding out. So
Absolutely.
you need to get people back to work. So that's a
Absolutely.
great thing.
And the number one reason, I just had a meeting with the workforce development agency today.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, they even said, look, the number one thing keeping people out of the workforce is the cost of childcare.
Yeah.
So, and it's a threefold problem. It's not just the cost of childcare. There's a shortage of childcare providers and a shortage of childcare workers,
Right.
because we're treating them and paying them like glorified babysitters. Most, I would say, are certified teachers. Like, they have their degrees. We need to pay them as such. But again, it's not a handout, it's an investment. As we pay them and get more quality childcare, we get more people back in the workforce. As I said, we make it back 2, 3, 4, 5 times in multiplying over what we're spending.
But that's the thing, and like you hit the nail on the head, is that there's so many other things that are just spent that are not
Exactly.
producing anything.
Right.
It's just wasteful money.
Right.
It's like throwing money right out the window of your car when you're driving. It's just not something you can or should do.
Perfect example, the Excluded Workers Fund. The Excluded Workers Fund, we spent $2.1 billion giving out unemployment checks to those who are here illegally, instead of those who've contributed to the fund.
Amen. There
Yeah,
you go.
$2.1 billion that could have been spent in child care or helping homeless vets or something like that.
Right. So who's auditing all this? I mean, that's really the question, right?
Yeah.
It's just in my industry, there are constantly have to have audits every year in the mutual funds, and we get audited every couple of years. But who's auditing our government? So hopefully, maybe we're not going to get the answer after the break, but we are hitting the break right now. So stay tuned. We are here with Dean Murray, New York State Senator, and you are listening to the Financial Chick Show. Check out my website at financialchickshow.com for more information or to request a complimentary consultation with me. Stay tuned after the break. So much to talk
Oh, my
about.
goodness. Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness. I have the answer to your question.
you do.
Hey guys, 2 minutes.
Okay.
I think you'll like it.
All right. Cool. All right. So we're going to start there. So who audits the government?
Who owns the government?
Okay, all right.
It's a very good question.
Let's do it.
and
Okay,
I'll give you the
Let's
nice
not let
surprise.
Facebook find out yet.
That's right, not yet.
We're gonna wait till we go back on the air.
Not yet. Exactly. No, boy, we said it before. It goes very quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, very fast,
I know.
They keep saying, "Give me hours." I'm just not sure.
You need it.
I do. There's days I get anxiety because I'm like, oh my god, I have like I'm running from work, whatever, and like, how do I fill in an hour? But then when I'm here, I'm like, I could talk for days. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's crazy.
Again, you hit a topic, and it's like, man, there's so much to talk
There's
about.
so much. There's so
60
much.
seconds.
And it was okay. And my colleagues went to like, how do you run a show every week? I'm like, I do holistic planning, so I have not to mention fast, but just all the stuff that I do. I could talk about things all the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Try to keep it exciting.
But, I mean, you could talk about different changes in the market, different regulations, pitfalls,
And all the
everything,
changes that have happened, like
yeah.
especially this past, oh my god, it's crazy. So that was like most of my shows for the year, like, all right, that RMD's in our age 73. I mean, they've changed so many things, but people gotta be in the know.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I do.
Wow, it is, for a Friday, I'm a little surprised how quiet it is.
Sometimes there are flights that come in, but I don't know, the past couple of weeks, I don't know what's happened. I haven't really seen anybody coming through.
Oh, I'd love to be jumping on
15 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
jumping on a flight right now.
You want to?
I wish.
Oh, yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, I just got back, so I can't really say that,
I
but
was going to say, what are you doing after the show?
planning my next week. You have to come on a boat this summer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
we got
yeah.
we got a new boat.
I know, I saw the pictures.
It's really, really nice. So we're counting down the days. Welcome back. This is Denise Nostrom, the Financial Chick. My company is in Medford, and you can reach me at 631-758-8691 or visit my website at financialchickshow.com. I'm here to help you on your financial journey. Over the years, things change, and I'm here to help you navigate all those changes. Today, we're mixing it up a little bit. We have with me New York State Senator Dean Murray. So we're talking about the state of New York State. What's going on there? So before the break, we were talking about how we're just kind of I'm going to just say pissing away money.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, so with the new budget and everything, and I guess my question was, well, who's auditing the house? So who's auditing the state, right? Is there, in my industry, we constantly have to be audited, but what's going on? Does anybody do that?
Well, audits are great because they give you direction. It's like when you're in school and you take tests or pop quiz. You don't love them, but they can give you a direction and a gauge on how well you're doing, how well you understand the situation. Well, an audit is the same thing. It's not necessarily a punishment. It's something where you're looking and saying, let's evaluate how you're doing. We have a great comptroller. And again, this is one of the times we can take the partisanship and throw it out the window, because I'm a Republican and our state comptroller, Tom DiNapoli, is a Democrat, former state assemblyman. And I got to tell you, Tom does a great job, and he also works very well across the aisle. I've worked with him on several occasions when I was in the assembly on several issues. He's just been great to work with. He audits, but the real auditors are the listeners, are the people, are the voters. If you're paying attention, you listen, you hear things like I just said before the break about how we're giving away your hard-earned tax money. If you don't agree with it, you have a say on election day. You change the course of the way we operate and how we spend our money.
I think most of us were kind of disappointed with the governorship. Maybe I can say all my listeners, but
Talk about buyer's remorse right now.
Yes,
I got to tell you,
I think so.
It's been very disappointing, but we'll see how the budget process works through. I will again, stepping back for a second, I'm going to give credit where credit is due as well to this governor, and I will say I held a press conference in December with some colleagues and some folks in the child care industry. And she listened. She actually listened. We were talking about, I listen, if you're willing to work together and get things done, God bless, that's great. And again, we did the press conference. One of the issues I brought up was how the thresholds for families qualifying for child care subsidies and assistance was not fair to Long Island. It was just unfair because you're taking median household incomes that just do not compare when you take Long Island compared to upstate and things like this. They are changing, or in this budget is a proposed change for certain regions, which will change the way we calculate the threshold. Instead of using state median income, we're using 300 times the federal poverty limit, which actually will increase, for example, a family of 4 on Long Island, it'll increase the threshold by about $11,000 a month.
Well, that's fair,
or a year.
because again, the equalization.
Yeah.
It's just even when they like hit business owners, like those business owners, they don't realize it's small, medium, and large. The large can deal, the medium maybe, small they go out of business.
Absolutely.
So you've got to have a little bit more equalized, and so that's good to hear.
Yeah, she did listen, and she is listening more. She did put some more money in the budget for child care subsidies. We've got to do more as far as regulations, kind of streamlining things to open it quicker. And again, we've got to concentrate on the rate of pay for child care workers. It's way out of line. There's no way the person that's watching your children during the day and trying to teach them and all this, right? Exactly, are making the same thing as a greeter at Walmart or a burger flipper at Burger King. It doesn't equate.
Well, speaking of that was something we talked about the minimum wage.
Right.
So talk a little bit about that, because that's something I'm sure the listeners want to hear about.
See, this is so frustrating, and this is where certain people they'll put it out there in a certain way. Like when you hear all these polls, and the polls are out and they ask people, do you think we should increase minimum wage? Well, sure. Everybody says, yeah, of course. Now you ask the real question. Do you think we should increase minimum wage if it means you're going to pay more at the gas pump, at the grocery store, and pay more for everything because the companies are going to have to raise their prices to pay for the increased labor costs?
Right.
All
Or
of a sudden that changes.
they're going to get rid of people, and
Exactly.
now you're going to have to do your self-scanning, or do you order your burger
100%.
on a kiosk, right?
I was in, I won't name the supermarket. I was in a supermarket the other night. There was one checkout person with an actual human.
Yeah.
The rest, it was all do it yourself.
That's par for the course now.
That's the minimum wage hike. Here's the other thing. The argument is, you can't live off a minimum wage. Here's a news flash for you. You're not supposed to. Minimum wage is the wage paid to get into the workforce. It is not your salary forever. The average amount of time spent a person making minimum wage is just under 4 months. Why do you think that is? Because most companies, they'll hire, if you're bringing nothing to the table, you're saying, just give me a chance to show you what I got. I don't really have a lot of experience, I'm not bringing anything. So the employer says, okay, I'll give you a shot at minimum wage. Usually they'll say, you've got a 90-day grace period, show me what you've got, right?
Exactly.
That's your evaluation period. After that 90 days, you sit down and say, this is either good for you or not. It isn't working. If it's not working, they let you go and you're not making minimum wage anymore.
Right.
If it is working, they usually say, okay, we're going to bump you up to this and we welcome aboard. So you're not making minimum wage forever. The other thing is the majority of the people making minimum wage are under the age of 24. So I hear this argument, well, if you raise the minimum wage, they spend that money locally so it goes right back into the economy. Newsflash. Most of the people making minimum wage are kids. You know where they're spending it? They're not going to the local dry cleaner or the stationery store. You know where they're going? They're going on Amazon.
Or DoorDash.
Or DoorDash. They're doing wonders for the Chinese economy. They're getting that bling phone case or buying more apps on their phone.
Right.
They're not spending it locally at the dry cleaner. So don't give me that argument. It's a ridiculous argument. So the amount of time we're spending on there is maybe 4 months. The average age is mostly kids. And so again, if you're spending time where you're earning minimum wage for a year or longer, you have to look inside yourself. Something's going wrong here.
That's a great point.
Or go to another employer. There are plenty of jobs out there right now, and most of them aren't even paying minimum wage. They're paying a little bit more.
Absolutely.
To attract more because the labor market is down. Why? Let's go back to childcare. So it's all intertwined.
Yeah, it is.
But they also forget this. We have raised the minimum wage in New York every year since 2017. This is the final year as the whole state reaches $15 an hour. But now the governor's proposal is to continue raising minimum wage tied to the rate of inflation, the CPI, and to do it in perpetuity. So, I mean, literally 10 years from now, we could be sitting here out in this conversation talking about the $32 an hour minimum wage.
And again, that hurts the small business.
It kills
because
them.
You know, people think, oh, just have a business, you're rich. But there's so many other things that they don't see.
Right.
You know, the matching of Social Security. I always make the
Right.
joke, like, 6.2, 12.4%. And if you're the business owner, you've got both of those. So,
Yep.
there are, business owners put into a lot more things than people think.
Please explain to the listeners that, because I've heard this before about unemployment. Oh, I don't mind unemployment. I've been paying into it for years. It's time I take some out. You don't pay unemployment. The business
Right,
pays
exactly.
unemployment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's frustrating when you hear these arguments and they're just not accurate. But what I've heard, and this is accurate, when I've talked to people about the proposal to raise minimum wage by the rate of inflation, they say, I'm done. I will either have to close my doors or move out of state. It's that simple. I can't do it. Because you're not just raising those making minimum wage. You have to raise all the others too to equate to it.
Right, exactly.
You had somebody that was hired 2 years ago. They're now making what will now be minimum wage because they got a couple raises. Well, you got to raise them too, or they're going to leave. So it is a massive labor cost increase with no increased production, and in many cases, you have to work harder because they're going to have to lay somebody off to make up for it.
Right.
So we don't need to do that now.
It's a mess, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, we had so many more things
Oh my
to talk
gosh.
about, but we're almost at the end. I'm so sad. Well, I want to thank you for taking time. I know you're super, super busy, so taking your time out of your schedule to be here with me and to have my listeners learn a little bit more about what's going on, because we hear the stories, but we want to hear the real story.
It was great being here. I feel like I took up all your time, but it was,
No,
it was
oh
so
my
great
God,
seeing you
I-
again and being here.
Oh my God, same. So thank you so much, and I don't know if you get a long weekend. You get up on Monday?
Yeah, kind of.
All right, okay, good. All
Kind
right.
of.
Well, I want you to rest and relax a little bit because we need you to be strong and to help us up there in Albany and bring home the bacon,
Will
so
do.
to speak. Well, thank you all for tuning in today and listening to the Financial Chick Show. Again, I'm the Financial Chick, Denise Nostrom. Anthony, our engineer, thank you so much for making the show sound good. And remember, everybody, let's do better and be better. Phone in Friday next week, so have your questions ready. Have a great weekend. And that's a wrap.
Wow, I talk too much.
So, but these are all things, nobody gets to hear this stuff. They don't get the inside track. Neither do I. I mean, I don't know half the stuff that's going on. We hear what's on the news, and well, God only knows that.
Yeah, that's
You got to disseminate the truth and fiction, and
Right.
fact and fiction from that.
Plenty of fiction.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
It
So-
drives me crazy when they make the argument about minimum wage.
Oh, nobody can live off. Nobody does. You know what the number, the percentage of household, the main household earners making minimum wages? It's 0.1% of 0.1%. It's like nobody.
It's crazy.
It was a Marriott van.
What's that?
It was a Marriott.
Oh, it wasn't News 12?
No, it was a Marriott.
All right, thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Wait, no. The one I drove by, it
white
was
one?
It was all the way.